All this up. Here she is! Yay! Spontaneous.
Because I'm a terrible person that didn't submit a bio or walk-on song until an hour ago.
It was fun this way.
Keep you on your toes. Okay, so, I am a big fan of this theme, but all of my stuff that is sort of pertinent is from a year ago. So we're flashing back here. So this first poem is written in response to a trend that was big in the 1920s through the 1940s, where people would jump horses off of these really tall ladders into the ocean or pools, and women would ride the horses, so this is in response to that. Steel Pier, 1928. Waiting at the top of the tower for the gelding to climb the ramp at a trot, she picks at the hem of her wool diving costume. She knew a girl who went blind in this business, lost her balance, detached retinas, the mare's eyes bulging like someone's thumbs pushed them from within. Her nostrils flared for the sea. 60 feet could break most things. 60 feet could be a mercy. She falls with the horse, and from her elegance spools the rest. Her arm in a catfish's muddy den, horseshoe stamped in her brother's skull, lockjaw, sand under their cheeks, sweltering revivals, orgasm whirling and whirling and whirling, crushed luminescence, town fairy, Sarah's hands on her like thighs gripping a saddle, morning and dove call at dawn, hope chest, jam jars, aberrations, open and shut daylily and ditch, worms that crawled into gut through feet, long hair floating like flames, red dirt, small coffins going north and north and north, smeared albumin, sunflowers rotting in a jug, the fullness of the gelding's eye, fiddle wine in June, falling like diving, like jumping, like dying, tower of steel, meconium, glimpse of breast under linen, dust in the folds of her eyelids, horseflies, lintel, Dr. I got a job for you, Carver. Curlers, curry comb, and tufts of mane, puff of breath, stud sweat, purple birth, hay cutting, grease, fire, drawl, and stammer and bear it. How bereft. Like myth, like soft lies, steel-edged and winking. The crowd drives them to leap for water, to climb a narrow ladder and fall. Goaded by blinders, shotgun, or love, they step off. Okay, this next poem is maybe sort of speakeasy-ish. Spiritualism was a big thing in the 1920s and 1930s, so I think it goes with it. It's called Promotional Seance. I would go so far as to hide things from you inside myself. Pulled from my skirts, the gauze becomes ectoplasm. The hairpin becomes the prick in your scalp that will not stop bleeding. I bring to you the 157 flowers from your father's gravesite. If my sisters before me did it, why should I not use my body to bring the world into containment before I release it in a different place than before? Mister, I invite you into a room darkened with deconstructed velvet capes. The mirrors are covered too, so as not to reflect anyone's inner light. Sit down at the table. Hold my wrist. There's paper for automatic writing, a cup of milk to be warmed and knocked over, sticks of incense to overwhelm you with the smell of your lover's shampoo. Here, have an informational flyer. There will be a silent auction of our latent desires, a raffle featuring the pillow on which my ass rested during the best sex of my life. Here, look at my hand, see how it draws portraits of your long losts, how the uncontrolled circling evokes a feeling of drowning, A borrowed ring is found inside a cotton ball, fake eyelashes inside a piece of felted wool. I want to summon the moments spent under a sweaty blanket with my next-door neighbor, who played the boy so I could continue to be a girl. She let me kiss her while we pretended my mother wasn't in the next room. Make the shame I feel when men look at me into a spirit I can exercise. You know, Ouija boards are fashionable now, and spiritualist societies have the best snacks. Our ghosts apport promptly the bone china cup, the lip gloss tube, the sagging lace-trimmed sock. All must be put back into place, circling your head in a dreary kind of dance. You see, I am selling the best parts of myself. I don't know any better than capitalism. I am explaining myself to you because that's what ghosts do. This is a promotional seance. You get what you pay for. If your heart skips when I lift the table with my thighs, that means I am finally fierce enough and finally done with stage fright. Okay. This is another old one. Torch song. Circus girl, let that cigarette dangle like the long line of you from the trapeze. Your knees hooked over the bar, your toes pointed sharp as the apocalyptic end of it all. You move sort of smoke, sort of dry leaves. You swing sort of backdoor, sort of big band. Circus girl, the air has gone out of the big top. It is gasping for you, and good God, I am extinguished, watching your ankles spin through the night. Circus girl, let us finish all flourish, all grace. Flicking open your Zippo, I light these hoops in my chest. A few bones litter the straw-strewn cages. You high flyers see your own bright white parts blinking up at you as you leap from the bar. You glean your own stunting from the night. I think I'll name you June, for plum dark. I want to sit a while in your tent, to sup at your scent, your ripe scent. Come truth with the blown-out torch, come strength to lip the heavy curve of your jaw. Tapped ash freckles on my hips last only as long as the Calloway record spins, and I always did love bloody things. The scent of straw in your hair, the audience's gape and spit. I dream of standing in his place, of catching you as you eye the sawdusted ground. Breathe light into these hoops here. True, our bodies go well water, go heat lightning in air. The somersault is a thing the body does alone. You're so full of tinder, neither tears nor teeth for what we do in the dark. I held your lips in the dip of my collar, the strength of our wanting keeping you still for a while, keeping you writhing then to cicada beat and higher lip. It's true, I fear you might burn from the inside. Roman candle combustion, and nothing left for my fingers but your point shoes. What risk? What specter of our straw house and the wolves of the night? My bravado, come swinging steel and oak, come spotlight on our skin, won't last. My mama told me much of the world, told me which women become torches to light steep paths. Okay, this last one is a newer one, and it is in response to an architectural trick called the ha-ha wall, which is when a tall wall is built into a sloping ditch. So if you're on this side of it, it looks like a huge wall, and if you're on that side of it, it looks like the horizon extends uninterrupted. And so it was used to like make land, estates look pretty, but also to like pretend like asylums weren't contained walls. The ha-ha wall. The particular Cupid's bow of my lips and my fat tongue shape my voice more than the clench and release of chords. So when I figure the gymnastics of saying the idea of your viscera leaves me in sweats, or that I adore you like a muscle that will snap itself for lifting. Darling, I will enunciate so carefully. And I apologize for the gaslight flicker of my face. The muscles there feel electric. There is a certain pleasure, like the almostness of itching, when I wallow like a bow-legged mouse in the basement of the world. Through repeated sessions, I recognize the barely digested taste of bread as a reminder that your hair smelled of lilac, but their photos are nothing compared to the hem of your skirt. I want to be brave enough to continue with pleasure while covered in bile. You understand, darling, because you see the wall too. Which switch is the switch, miss, for Ipswich? From my wicker seat on the lawn, it looms taller than anything I have verified with my hands. Perhaps at its core it is a wall of cat's eye marbles, a wall of yellow gross-grain ribbon, a wall of crushed eggshell, a wall of bruised apples, a wall of teeth, gooey and browning with sugar, that informs us living in the body is a craggy business. From her little blue boat on the blue lake, my ex-lover insists that the horizon extends uninterrupted. Where do they go when they row, row, row? She thinks that if I wasn't such a tease, I would get up and walk to the edge of the lake, where the birds lance little wriggling things in the mud and cattails wrap thick like leather restraints. Promised. The prick of biting flies and the gentle licking of water against the beach, of her gaze on my damp ankles. Darling, you must acknowledge that the world is constructed without our consent, that I can never call you by your real name, that we know someone built me a maze on the side of a great wall, before they placed her like a toy in a boat to spin around the lake until I am weeping from laughter. I repeat myself when the needle skips on the wax cylinder. We listen to so much music here. There is a little lane without a turning on the way to home, sweet home.